In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how you can create your own custom pattern, and you can also create a circular ray. So both are different, but I'm going to attack it in this one tutorial. So the first thing is I'm going to make a pattern. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I want to make a tiled pattern. So I will make this and I'm going to call this square pattern. I'm also going to have transparency for my background and my resolution 300. So I'm going to assume that I'm making this pattern for print. Now what I want to do is I want to zoom in, and I'm going to pick a color red. I'm going to use my square. I'm going to hold shift so it's a perfect square. And I also want to count the squares to make sure that it is square. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I actually have 9 pixels across. So if I want to go to my canvas size and alter it, let's just make this 0.5. And what I can do is I can always crop it later. See here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So what I want to do is I want to crop this. If I grab my crop tool over here, I want to have it 5 squares across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to bring this all the way to the top here. And I want to have it 5 squares down. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I have a perfect square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the top and just get off my crop tool. If I go to Edit, Define Pattern, I'm going to hit OK. And now I've created a pattern. So if I go to File, New, and I'm just going to hit a US paper size, and I'll just call this Test. So here I have a solid color, it's my background. If I go down here to the paint bucket, and if I change it from foreground to pattern, if I go up, here is the pattern that I just created. So if I click, this is my custom pattern that I've added. So let's try that again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this rectangle. Actually, I'll create a new layer first, and I'll delete it. And now what I want to do is I'm going to create a circle pattern inside, and I'll make it roughly a black shade. And if you want to have it off-centered, just so you can see what it looks like, and if I go to Edit, and I'll call this Circle, and then if I go to my test, I'll create a new layer, turn off the eye, and here's my circle pattern. And that's it for the patterns. It's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close both of those down. And now we're going to talk about creating arrays. So File, New, US paper. I'm going to call this array. And the first thing I'm going to do is pick a color. And I'm going to create a circle. Back to my circle tool, I'm going to hold shift, make a perfect circle. Just going to kind of center this a little bit better. If you want to perfectly center it, you can hold shift to the background, and you could hit this button and this will center it horizontally. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command Option T, and I'm going to move my anchor point. So I'm going to move it to the center here. And then from here, I'm going to actually rotate this around. Now what I'm going to do is hit Command Option Shift T, and it will continue my array. So let's try that one more time. Okay, for this one, I am going to be making some sort of star array, like a starburst. I'm going to use the pen tool. I want to make sure that I have it set as a shape, not a path. And I'm going to pick a color fill up here. So let's pick an orange color for now. Then what I want to do is if I hold shift, I can get a perfect line. And I just want to get a center point here. I'm going to move this shape over and I want to hit Command Option T again to duplicate it and bring up my box. I am going to rotate it now. From here, I'm going to hit, actually I'll rotate a little bit more, slightly off. And I'm going to hit Enter and I'm happy with this. So then I am going to hit Command Option Shift T, and I can keep doing that and going all the way around. So the tricky part with the arrays is trying to match everything up perfectly. So this one didn't match up perfectly. You just have to play around with your spacing. It's very mathematical if you wanted to figure it out, how many pixels to work with. If you want to figure out how you can align things, you can go up to the top, and if you go under View, Rulers, you have your rulers here. You could set up your guides just by dragging guides out. If you move your cursor to where these rulers are and that little arrow is black, see how we have a full arrow? That means you can drag out guides and you can drag them out to wherever you want. If you want to remove your guides, you can click and drag them up. So sometimes when I'm working with arrays, I'll actually bring out the guides and try to figure it out perfectly, but that was just a little quick easy way on how you can create arrays. So one more, what we'll do is let's just make another fun one. So I'll double click. I will pick a pink circle. I'm going to now hit Command Option T. I'm going to move my pivot point. And I can even have it pivot point right at the bottom there. I will rotate it. I'm going to hit Enter. Then what I can do is to keep continuing it, I can hit Command, Option, Shift T, and keep going all the way around. Now, if you wanted to make some adjustments to your array, let's say you want to work with some transparencies, you can adjust your opacity values. So if I click away, we can see that my opacity is quite light now. If you had, let's say, if I right click over here, I can duplicate my layer. I can move it over. I can screen the two of them and it shows the different values. I can divide. I can put a luminosity on it. So there's a lot of different values you can play just on your layers palette here. So give it a try.